not forget. Expect us.
This is a message to all supporters, a message to all freedom fighters, to all dissenters, to all forgotten, a call to all intellectuals, to all journalists, a call to all freethinkers, a call for intelligence. This is a call to all poets, a call to the strong and the weak, a call to all young people, to the wise, to the astucious. We want you to join us. We are on the streets of Tokyo, in the skyscrapers of New York, in the lanes of Paris, in the cellars of Munich, on Moscow's icy places, on the cobbled streets of Dublin. This is a call to all people, to the youth. Join us in the fight for freedom of information. Search for us, and you will find us. We are among you. We are you. Everyone you speak with can be a member of Anonymous. We have no leaders, only an orientation. We have no targets, only results. You cannot stop us because we are an idea. We cannot be eliminated because we are invisible. If you try to mock us, we will mock ourselves. If you try to slander us, we will accept the defamation. We are the king's jesters with daggers. We are the dancing bear which tears to pieces the laughing mob. We are Anonymous. We are a legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us, just as we expect you.
Of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Are we alive?
And welcome to Anonymous Bites Back, episode 129. To our listeners, this will be a short show. I'm just having some health issues, so I'm only going to cut this show down to an hour. I do want to focus right now on Million Mass March, which will be in 4 days. If you haven't created an event page on whatever social media site that you're on or website, do it. You can also go to millionmassmarch.com or the Pastebins on @Anonymous Worldwide on Twitter, or on Anonymous. I believe we posted the Pastebins and all of the Million Mass March locations that we could with the time allotted on those Pastebins. Mark, you want to jump in?
Well, during the weekend we plan to broadcast. We wanted to have some specials about the Million Mass March. We invited a lot of March organizers in, and they promised to come to our show. So like the entire weekend, and we hope Monday too will be like all about Million Mass March. And we are also planning to have some live streamers from the locations stream either directly to our pages or they'll attend on the show and it's pretty exciting.
Pass them streams around, that's for sure.
Yeah, I hope to share it for you.
Yeah, I know Dadam will be going off, so will Tierman. What is it? What's the one? How do you say the one in England? Tala. I can never say. Yeah, that one will be popping off. So will Chicago. I also did hear from my own. My family's from home country. I believe that there is one going on in Budapest. So that I think that's a newer march that's going on, and I know there'll be some marches going on in the Philippines as well, and all over the United States and in Europe.
Both Wellington and Auckland, New Zealand, will both have marches. If people, I'll post them on the page and in here as well. But just to keep in mind, if you're in New Zealand, those are kind of the two big hubs of where there's marches and organizers going on. Wellington will be doing a feeding the poor march, so they can let's go from one side of the city to the other and hand out food and supplies and such. But yeah, post both the links for that.
Yeah, I would be posting right now, in the comments. Maybe John or our promoter in the background can start producing that Pastebin link on Facebook. God, dyslexic Dave today.
Yeah, it's posted.
Yeah, I think throughout the week I think I posted all the locations like 5 times. But I don't have a really huge following on Twitter, unlike some of the other Anon accounts. I do want to jump into something. We were going to have an emergency episode on Monday. I don't know what happened. I kind of fell asleep when we were going to stream. But I do want to talk about Gab.com. Gab.com was taken down. It's a social media website that defends free speech. People who aren't familiar with the site or even on the site said that it was a Nazi alt-right social media site. That is honestly, that's only like 10%. The Nazis are 10%, and I would say the alt-right's maybe about 20% on there, on that social media site. But here's the deal: if you understand free speech means that people are going to say things and have ideologies that you do not agree with. The difference between Gab, Twitter, and Facebook, Google Plus, is that they don't. Those social media sites censor, whereas Gab doesn't. Gab's ideology is defend free speech with free speech, or you can opt out, which means block the person that is sending the hate speech or whatever, or the speech that you do not like.
And that's really the point. See, and I think we brought this up so many.
Everybody, yeah, all the trolls came out when Gab.com came on. They said that they were a Nazi. They said that Andrew Torba is a Nazi. I don't know. I think he's a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I am a defender of free speech. You know.
Was a Nazi. I like to be able to see my enemies. That doesn't take away, because they're racist, that doesn't take away their right to free speech. Now, right to free speech means that the government cannot censor you, that the government cannot silence you, can't send, guys with guns or arrest you for something that you said. That doesn't mean that I can't get on your social media site and call you out for being a racist. That doesn't mean that I can't dox you, that I can't, inform your job that you're a fucking Nazi, right? All of those things, the only way that works, that I can truly expose hate and Nazis and all of that ideology, if it's in the open. And it's supposed to be in the open. That makes it the easiest way to fight. It's not like these groups aren't going to keep talking. So if we take that away from them, right, they'll find other ways. They'll just email their hate speech back and forth to each other. And then it makes it hardest to find out that the guy next to me is planning on shooting somewhere up or has some insane racist ideologies, which explains why they deny everybody that's of color in a bank, right?
Well, here's the deal: is that the Nazis would be on Facebook and Twitter if they wouldn't be so restrictive. They would be on any social media website,
And we would right? We'd post their pictures, what they said. We would call them out. Look, not even racists like being called racists, right? They make up all these words to hide it.
I'm a purist. Right? I'm a whiteian, or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, Yeah,
they never want to say, hey, yo, I hate black people. I hate Mexicans. I'm a racist, okay? Right? They won't come out and say that. They've always got, we're white nationalists. I'm just proud of whatever. No, you spell out hate speech. But you have a right to be able to spit off that hate speech. And I have the right to say that you're full of shit.
Yeah.
The important thing to know is that, look, everybody was clapping when they took down Alex Jones. And then when they took down Police the Police and Unicorn Riot and, this page and this page that are, right, posting the truth about police brutality, about the news, about all of this stuff, right? The reason that they could do it is because you didn't stand up for Alex Jones's right to speak. I didn't.
No, exactly, and it is like they're both different sides in the political spectrum, but they're both utilizing their free speech. So yeah, if you don't defend Alex Jones, then you're going to be fucked with your other sides too, with Free Thought Project and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't support Alex Jones, but he does have the right to say whatever he wants to. And here's the problem. Here's the key problem. Is that we're letting corporations, large internet and social media and hosting providers dictate what free speech is. When our United States Constitution, within the United States, we have the First Amendment, which is the freedom of speech and press. Now, if you live in Switzerland, that's different. If you live in Switzerland, hate speech is a crime, but in the United States, it is not a crime.
Yeah, Germany as well. And there's laws about inciting violence. So if there's all sorts of.
Well, there are crimes affiliated with speech. Yes, you can't say that you want to kill somebody or that you are going to kill somebody. That is a crime.
Yeah. So, those are threats, terroristic threats. Those are things that we already have rules for. But look, you can get up on a stage, you can get up on a venue, you can, on your social media, you can get up and say whatever you want. I'll screenshot it and post it. Check out what this asshole said. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. The trolls should be able to go on there and rip them apart, or people that stand up against hate speech. But they're trying. It's not that they're trying to stomp out hate speech. They're trying to take away free speech.
Yeah, and I just want to defend our show is that we're not supporting Nazism. Anonymous always defends free speech, and we're anti-censorship. So any time that happens, it's a big deal to us.
If anybody that listens to our show thinks that we're on the side of Nazis, you're not fucking listening. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. I'm not gonna go down that. If at any time you false free speech,
that we fall into these straw man organizations or, you know, arguments. No, I think every person has the right to speak, whether you like it or not. That's why it's in there. It's in there because they figured you probably wouldn't like it. There's plenty of people that don't like what we're saying. But no, I'm not going to go down that road. But by defending free speech, somehow I support Nazis. I defend free speech so that you can make sure to speak out about Nazis.
Yeah, you know, lo and behold, you know that organization that defends, you know, people's rights and free speech, the ACLU. On countless occasions, they have defended the white nationalist party as well. You know, so
yeah, look, I'm defending them. I'm defending free speech. I think they're racist sacks of shit and deserve to be exposed, right? And in a non-violent.
But they
fashion.
do have a constitutional right to say what they want to say.
Exactly. And I think it's
all horseshit, but they have the right to say what they want to say.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it really does. It does. This whole thing recently with when somebody does that, they post their picture, they get doxxed, they get fired. You know what I mean? You get famous for all of the wrong reasons. That is an amazing tool. People are not willing to come out and fucking spit hatred or any of that stuff because, well, they don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, well, it's this simple. If you don't defend the free speech of these people you don't agree with, then you're pretty much not defending free speech at all. So
nobody gives you a props for defending your own people. All right, that's natural. That's demanded, right? Everybody has to defend their own people. You only get the props for defending people that don't agree with you.
Well, there was I mean, that's all true, but you know, even if you use like today's policy was, you didn't go after the platforms for what people said on the platform. Now all of a sudden it's okay to shut down Gab because this guy said something on the platform. How come you're not shutting down Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of them?
Exactly, because he also had the shooter that shot down the synagogue also had a Facebook profile. They just used it as a political stunt. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I mean, they're not stunts. I mean, this is real. It's really happening, and nobody is defending it. Nobody is defending these people. That's what's truly amazing.
Just since we brought that part up, right? I cannot believe Trump went to the synagogue and put, you know, and went a whole ceremony and all of that stuff. Immediately flew back to the White House and stopped funding the anti-terror, domestic terror programs that focus on white nationalist terrorist organizations. Like, what a way to show respect for the people that were just mowed down in that synagogue. That's insanity, guys.
I was going to say a lot of bad stuff about the president, but that doesn't surprise me.
Like news, I'm just saying, you know, it's the timing. Like, seriously, man, you acted like you honored these people's death and all blah 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 blah. Went back and immediately cut funding, not just for an anti-terror group, anti-domestic terror that focuses specifically on white nationalist hatred. Off. But no, it's not like it's breaking news or exciting news. Trump's going to do and say something stupid every single day of his presidency. Make no mistake. It's a complete circus of the government altogether.
Yeah, that's the entire government, the establishment. That's a complete circus, and Trump is just part of this circus. He's playing his role as some Broadway actor pretty well. I mean, he's just this populist actor. Yeah.
And the horse he rode in on, but Hillary Clinton went on national TV and said all black people look alike. Those words came out of her mouth.
What
like,
who?
Actually said that.
Yeah, well, that's incredible, right? It's like,
yeah. But she's a Democrat. It's okay. You know, when you're the wife of the bastard son of a Rockefeller, it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She gets so much stuff too. I mean.
Like, to the extent Trump has said some crazy shit about Latinos, he hasn't stepped over that line yet. Like, that's the top 3 of racist jokes. Let me guess.
No, he has had countless like racist Mexican jokes over the years. You know.
Well, and he had the shithole comment, you know, which I mean that applied to
he said all of South America was a shithole. Yeah, he did.
And guys, to be fair, Mexicans are not a race, right? It's a different country. It's like,
well, yeah, true.
I mean, that's Yeah, that's definitely their nationality. But and I mean, there's I don't know. They've turned the word Mexican and Latino into like some sort of dirty word, like they have with everything else, right? They'll attach this weird negativity to everything.
Oh yeah, now we got to say Hispanic, Latino, Chicano, or
yeah, whatever the brown people you're trying to lock down, right? Those people.
Well, I mean, which is politically correct. I mean, because they do come from different regions of South America, so.
Yeah. I would like you to be as easy as possible when mowing me down with machine guns. Right? Do not dare spit on a racist term when you're mowing me down. They said, what is it? There's 4,000 civilians walking to the U.S. and they sent 5,200 heavily armed troops, right, against people that have zero budget. Guys, if we can't take 4,000 unarmed, starving people, right, we're fucked. Imagine if they were an army. Oh no, we did. We had to face a real army, and we've been in that war for 17 years and got our asses handed to us again. Like, the only people that we can beat up on are unarmed civilians. That seems to be what we're best at. Name an armed opponent that we've been able to beat since Vietnam.
Yeah, and if you have nukes, we don't even mess with you. So nukes are good.
Oh, chances are, if you've got nukes, you're our buddy. I mean, the underlying craziness of all of the nuke talk is that it's not every other country except for North Korea and Iran has nuclear weapons. All of them. Japan claims they don't, but I mean, come on.
Well,
you'll use the fuck out.
Trump broke out of the INF agreement and said that he would build more nuclear bombs to make the world wake up.
Yeah, that's worked. Building nuclear bombs has made the world.
The sad truth about United States military nuclear arsenal is that some of the guidance systems from the old Nike missile, when the Nike missiles were starting being produced around the 60s, those era missiles are still around, and their guidance systems are still being used on a 5.5-inch floppy disk. I am not joking. I am not joking.
It's like 30-40% of our nuclear arsenal does not work.
Yeah.
That's not our goal. Our goal is that if something happens, we push the button and we launch every little thing off the fuck. It doesn't matter where it falls. So when you're planning over, it doesn't matter.
Well, it's great for the military-industrial complex. Let's all clap, and I mean, here we go. It's another.
Well, I mean, nuclear missiles do have, and I've said this for a long time. They do have a purpose, but not in wars. Like, if we had a foreign spatial body that was going to impact the Earth, nuclear arsenals do have a purpose. But as far as using it in warfare, that's just you're just going to kill everybody.
There's a problem. Initial impact, right, does have, a small effect. Most of it, when it comes to moving like you're saying, if we get, if we're getting hit by a comet or an asteroid, that you would hit it with a nuclear bomb.
You would move the trajectory, yeah.
And you would do better to push it out of the way with rockets, with magnets, with all sorts of other ways than to turn it into a whole bunch of pieces, but only in the original impact zone. Nuclear weapons do not work in space the way that they work inside of an atmosphere. By igniting the atmosphere is what causes that burning effect that we need to destroy everything. That doesn't happen in space.
All right, my bad.
So, like, you could bump something out of the way, but the way that nuclear weapons work is using the Earth's atmosphere. That's what creates the shock wave, the destructive power. And because of the atmosphere in space, it doesn't have the same effect. Where a small change in trajectory using even conventional rockets, remember, this is in the vacuum of space, you could get out there and push it, right? It moves it enough. It could move that it moves it outside of smacking into terra firma, to smacking into the planet. But not one of the greatest uses for nuclear weapons. Cracking the atom, we probably had only scratched the surface, because all we made was nuclear bombs and boiled water with it. Right, our most advanced nuclear power facilities, all they do is boil water to turn turbines. That is probably not the smartest use for cracking the atom. right?
No,
Man, great.
I don't think that nuclear power was well thought out to begin with, because there's so many fucking problems.
It was just
Like
Well,
once, it,
yeah,
there's no nuclear facility on this earth that doesn't leak radiation, whether they say they do or not. They all do, and then when shit goes wrong, their countermeasures never work.
Oh, and they can
Well,
build it up. They can build it. You know, they're in what they've proven now without a shadow of a doubt. The Navy even did some crazy experiments with lasers that cold fusion is more than possible, but not as profitable. They literally developed, and I don't like. I know that's not one of the topics of our show really tonight, but if people want to go and look up how efficient these nuclear power plants were designed to be, specifically designed to be inefficient. They were designed to support a system that it turned out we really didn't want.
Well, they have a secondary purpose to refine uranium for nuclear warheads. That's always been that's always been well known. I'm not joking. That's always been well known. Yeah.
Not just heads, but reactive armor. So when you hear people say depleted uranium armor in our tanks and bullets and armor piercing rounds, that is all spent uranium from nuclear power plants. So the Desert Storm sickness that all of our soldiers got because they designed reactive armor using spent radioactive material, and the dust, the sand ended up stripping it into small particles, and all of the soldiers that were exposed to it, it stripped the paint and the nuclear material off of it. They ended up breathing it in, and it gave what was called Desert Storm sickness, which the VA and the U.S. government denied completely.
Well, yeah, depleted uranium isn't necessarily safe.
Yeah, they didn't design it to deal with the sand. Desert Storm 1 was a nightmare in that all of our stuff was designed to go to war with Vietnam. We would have destroyed the jungle. It was not designed for the desert. And those fucking sandstorms not only stripped the depleted uranium off, but they did it on like a small level, microscopic levels. So you didn't even really...
Well, not only that, the quality control on what is legally defined as depleted uranium isn't always up to par either. So you might get like a plate on like an A10 Warhog that says it's depleted uranium, but it's not actually as depleted as they say it is.
And Terry, you don't have to abide by most environmental regulations, specifically. So you may get in trouble in the future for pollution, but in all actuality, you're not held as the military. You're not held accountable for sound, for pollution. If it supports the fictitious war effort, go nuts.
Yeah.
I like how this went from gap censorship to depleted uranium bullets plus the classic ABV.
All of these corporate nut jobs are all connected. They're all part
Yeah, it's true. It's all the establishment crimes of these corrupt establishment.
Yeah, you're all the same group of assholes, the same couple of industries.
Corporate dicks.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of since we're on a limited time, I did want to change the topic to what had happened about 2 days ago. President Donald Trump said that he was going to do an executive order to override the 14th Amendment. I wouldn't worry about it. It's complete bullshit. I did talk to a friend who is a constitutional lawyer, saying that he can't override the 14th Amendment by an executive order. Also when it comes to constitutional law, the amendments are not up into interpretation, which was how he would have worded the verbiage for the executive order. And also the 14th Amendment with birthright, when you're born on U.S. soil, is kind of the foundation of the rest of the amendments. In essence, that the amendments or your constitutional rights are what the founding fathers said, that these are your God-given rights that you are born with. Your inalienable rights, And when you're born on U.S. soil, you are given these inalienable rights via the 14th Amendment. So, I mean, I don't understand. Like, the president signs, just like the military, to defend and uphold the Constitution, both foreign and domestic. And, you know, right now, that just doesn't seem what's going on. You know, I mean, especially, well, I know everybody's been pissing over the Constitution for the last 50, 60 years, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a long line of chiseling away at our rights in the Constitution. That's, you know, we started about, you know, the First Amendment. We're now talking about the 14th Amendment. They would like to do away, for one reason or another, these group of corrupt people with inalienable rights to begin with, right? They'd like to take away all rights. The state has all full control over you. I would like to say with this specifically, I honestly think it was a publicity stunt. You know, knowing that he doesn't have the power to do it, he can still come out and say it. His supporters see him as being a hardliner on immigration, no matter how wrong it is, and they get a little bit of extra support from it. I think it really was a publicity stunt.
Oh no! An executive order was written up, but it was an interpretation of the verbiage of the 14th Amendment, which is not up to debate, because the interpretation of the 14th Amendment is not the 14th Amendment. It's written as is.
Yeah, but these guys will write a bit of legislation, come out for or against it, knowing that it won't pass. And then you get to look like look, I'm trying, guys, but you know that you don't have the power to do it. You just have to come out and say that you are. And they do this with legislation. Look at like the tax code. Every Democrat came out against it, but all of them took the money. You know what I mean? You can come out against it knowing that it's going to pass, whether you're against it or not. And that's what this is being used for. No, he has no intention. He knows that it won't pass. It'll get caught up in the courts long after he's done. Long after the election is done. All he has to do is come out and say it. You can come out and say all sorts of crazy shit.
I don't know. The more he sits in office, the more I'm just like, he is not qualified to be in that seat. Like, what? Anybody but him. Like, I don't care if you get fucking, you get somebody off the street. I don't care. Like, yeah,
just gets off the street. Anybody. Like, I don't want anybody that's actually standing in the White House right now. Anybody, just walk down.
Yes, I don't care. I don't care. As long as they're qualified to do the job, that's cool. Like somebody who knows the laws.
I feel that anybody would be more qualified.
Well, you're going to get your chance. Hillary's going to run here in 2020, man. I mean, will that work for you?
No. No, that's not going to work.
Oh, I thought you said anybody. I mean...
Anybody but her. Okay, anybody but her. Okay.
Like, how do you rationalize that? You already Donald Trump. Any of us on this show would have won compared to Donald Trump. Like, it's inconceivable that you lost against Donald fucking Trump.
Well, I mean, only a killing criminal, Jezebel, like Hillary Clinton, could lose. I mean,
at the moment she's making money.
Well, now I look at it this way. She is who she is, and she still almost won. That's what's amazing. She almost pulled it off.
Oh, and they're still like oh my God, Occupy Democrats, like the works. The thing when we were talking about her calling all black people, saying all black people looked alike. All of the big news agencies, including NPR, pulled that completely. Right? They cut off their video clip exactly at that point. And we got confirmation right away that night from inside of her campaign that they spent all night calling them and talking in meetings to get this, to make sure that it didn't become a story. And this is from such a long history of saying racist ass shit.
Yeah, it's like what how in this PC world, how do you get a pass like that?
Nobody.
That's amazing. It is.
Nobody should get that pass. And look, it's like, okay, I was a teenager. I was becoming, a young adult when she made the super predators comment, right? And I went from being that cute, brown friend that everybody has to being this monster threat that was, no matter what you wore, you were some criminal that was on their way to fucking prison. At 14 years old. That was 100% on her. The support of the prison industrial complex and the war on drugs, that she was Secretary of State. She knew that all of that was not working and inherently racist and went along with it anyway. And then fast forward to now, and she boils down to the entire African Americans that struggle to whether she carries hot sauce in her fucking purse or not. It's bullshit.
well, you know, the other thing they cover for is that Senator Warren, they're actually, you know, even though she's got no native blood, they stick by the story that she has native blood. I mean, you know, it's like, what do you owe these two women who are total pieces of trash?
You do or do not have native blood. When have you ever stood up for women's rights? I don't give a fuck how much blood you have. You have never even mentioned Standing Rock, never even mentioned Bayou Bridge protests, treaty rights, the thousands of murdered and raped indigenous women. When the fuck have you mentioned anything that would have anything to do with the indigenous people? Whether you are white as driven snow, I know activists in Sweden that have more to do with indigenous rights than she ever has, and she's in power. When has she ever posted free Red Fawn, free Leonard Bertier, right? That's during her entire, right, career. Never mentioned it once.
No politician will stand up and do the right thing because of their political career. You know that.
Yeah. The fact that you've never stood up for indigenous rights ever, why would it matter how much blood you have?
Well, it's the way they do it. It's just amazing. I don't understand why they get the pass. I mean, you know, it just shows the corporate control of the media where they can just call up and snuff out a story.
Hey, yeah, guys.
It's just like, I mean, because they know they know they fucked up, so they have to call everybody around and tell them to hush hush. So, you know, they know what would be done to everybody else. They just don't want it done to them.
Oh yeah, if they can't use it, I mean, look, why would you? You're supposed to be, you know, this super leader, right? And whether you were making the joke or not, you should have known that was a bullshit joke to make, right? You're supposed to be smart enough to know those things. Look, I mean, name a time when that's been said and it wasn't seen as racist.
She doesn't care. I mean, she can do anything. It's just like the server and the emails. She can literally sell national secrets and let her stuff get hacked and all the rest. It's just a big joke.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna. She can fuck up left and right, and nobody's gonna call her on it. And it just baffles me. It's like,
is she running in 2020?
She's okay.
Sure.
Like,
are you serious?
They're gonna push until the very end. Like, she's tap dancing.
Oh my
god. Nobody. I mean, not.
You know what that means? You know, if she runs in 2020, that Trump will get elected again. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know, man. I mean,
that
was neck and I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Look, honestly, I'm sure if they run Hillary Clinton in 2020, we will be looking at another 4 years of Trump. No doubt, because there's a whole group of people that are just going to step away from the voting process if that's the case.
I think I'm going to leave the country, seriously. Like, this administration is like destroying the country.
Oh no, it's not. That's the
It's actually, you know what? It's actually not the administration. It's
not.
Yeah, it is the corporate controllers that actually run the United States that are destroying the country.
Yeah, this is neoliberals. This is Democrats. This is corporate influence of our government.
Yes.
This divisive, politics. To be honest, Donald Trump and all of those rich motherfuckers really don't give a fuck what race you are. They're going to use you for profit. That's what they give a fuck about.
Yeah, but you know,
they must be doing this. They must be doing this on purpose, like letting this Trump down win, because they all know that if they throw in Bernie Sanders, they would win this, right?
Well, no.
They know this, so they're doing it on purpose.
Bernie Sanders was more qualified for the job than Trump. I'll tell you that.
But I think they legitimately fear not just Bernie Sanders themselves, because there's plenty of stuff that he's not far enough left for my taste at all, right? But I think that the step in that direction, there's no going back after that point.
Oh no, yeah, I wasn't saying in the essence of going left or right. I'm just saying that he had the qualifications for the job, which Trump didn't have. Yeah.
And the support. And I think even at that, now, I know this is going to sound so,
like stupid to some people. But when Stormy Daniels gave her interview about her night with Trump and his little wee wee and all of that shit. In that story, she says they were sitting watching Shark Week and the phone rang and it was Hillary Clinton and they talked about the plan. And I want to know what the fuck that was about, because I think even in all of this, I think they sat down and said, look, even if you win, right, then we can run Clinton and we can run the corporate oligarch again.
Yes, they all work together. They all call each other behind the backs. What we see on the news is a political stage. You know, it's an act.
Plan like first candidate possible, and then you pop back up again. Like, hey, do you want herpes now? Now that you've had syphilis, hey, would you like herpes now? Like, that's the kind of thing. I said no already. I don't want the corporate elite. I don't want the oligarchs. I don't want the banking puppets. And then they'll run a horrible candidate and be like, well, how about, you know? And it's like, no, it's you. I still meant no. Give me somebody that's not fucking corrupt. It doesn't matter whether somebody wins that's more corrupt than you. I still want to vote for your corruption. And I don't particularly know if he's more or less corrupt, right? He's a billionaire. The Clinton Foundation has $2.2 billion.
Yes, in essence, she is a billionaire as well, you know?
Yeah, I mean, come on. You act like she's different. I mean...
You know, I did want to change the topic really quick, because we... maybe we'll go to an hour and a half for the show. I think somebody asked about my health, in the comments. No, it's nothing serious. It's just an ongoing situation with my health. I'm okay. But I did want to... It's what?
It's chronic, but it's all right.
Yeah, it's chronic, but it's all right. It's
okay,
manageable with medications. But what I did want to go to is that something that has been going on for a long time. A lot of on the local elections, specifically on Facebook, the political candidates, certain political candidates, their Facebook pages have been deleted in the upcoming week without any notification, and they're honestly, on some of these pages, there have been thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in sponsored ads on these pages. So
what they're doing is they're using, you know, so they have their trolls go on your page, and then they'll go through and look through all of the videos that you've ever posted, and then they'll mark one of them as violating a copyright infringement. Now, 50% of the time, Facebook looks into it. 50% of the time, they just take it down and block the page as a copyright infringement. And they don't really inform you. You have to go and look for it and deliberately go and take it off. But they're using all of the, you know, everything they can to try to shut down these pages, as well as like marking them with hate speech and all of this stuff. And then, so like if you mentioned the Palestinian struggle in Gaza, somebody gets on their march to this hate speech, right? They take the page down and you're fucked, really. You have to go through a whole process to undo it. And they're using all of these little rules on people that they don't like. Some of that's to the right, some of that's to the Greens and the left, but all of the big parties are deliberately doing this and paying organizations to do this for them.
Well, and, you know, and here's the deal: is that they know on the local level that these politicians don't have the money or the money to fight it. You know what I mean, in the courts, especially when we only have a few days left till the elections. This is like ultimately, you know, and I hate to say this, you know, all of Silicon Valley is left leaning, and if you're on any of their platforms and you are not on the side or an independent or a Republican or whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, an anarchist, you are not going to have a political stage on their platforms.
Yeah, and I mean, pretty much the big, you know, the two. I mean, if you're not Democrat or Republican, they're trying to, they're pretty united in that, in like who they allow to be censored and taken off. You know, as long as it's
If as long as it's right, Republican Party lockstep, they'll keep it up, and as long as it's left, the same way lockstep thing.
And this is this is the problem, and this is why I do believe in limited government. I do believe in those are my views. I do believe in a small government with limited powers. But what doesn't really need to happen is the government does need to regulate. In my view, free speech on social media platforms, aka Google, Facebook, Instagram. And I really wish it didn't have to come to that point. To the point where there might have to be government intervention saying, hey, there are constitutional rights despite whatever corporate bullshit you write on your thing. People have the right to say whatever the fuck they want to say.
Well, but that's the Internet Bill of Rights idea. Like there are some people who are like vouching for an Internet Bill of Rights, similar to.
Or look, it's some of this. This is our fault. We could have a social media platform that's just as good and lets you do everything that it does on Facebook. Now, the government and several other organizations, and I don't know if how I feel about this, is said, look, it's a private company, and they can monitor it and take stuff on and off any way they like. At that point, we needed to make our own social media platform that doesn't do that. Right?
Public squares. There's other.
There are laws, for public
squares that even if they're privately owned, are public squares. It doesn't matter.
And free speech applies to public squares.
That's right. And Dorsey and all the rest of them, they constantly say it's a public square. So, okay, guys, what you don't have is a government that will defend your rights. You don't need other bills and laws and all this. What you need is a government that wants to defend your rights. And that's what's missing.
Yeah, and if they actively start to decide what is allowed and what is not on their platform, they're no longer neutral, and they can't hide anymore behind that whole marketplace thing of not being responsible for the content on their websites, right? I mean, they're responsible then.
What point?
All the content there.
That's right.
On our shoulders, it's not like we don't have the technology, the will, the information to make our own social media platform. We know Zuckerberg's dirty, right? We know that this platform is not built or being used for the people. At what point are we going to move on? At what point are we going to build it and support it?
Well, I mean, that was the whole point of Gab.com, and it wasn't the social media. It wasn't the social media because Gab defends free speech. It wasn't them. It was their hosting provider. It was their hosting provider and cloud service that had taken them off. It was GoDaddy and Joyent took them offline, and GoDaddy said that they are no longer allowed to go on GoDaddy.com or their affiliates, which is 60% of all of the hosting providers in the United States. So Gab.com
so you don't get to have it.
Literally has to go offshore. They literally have. That's what I heard. The discussion is that the servers for Gab.com needs to go offshore, off of U.S. soil, to defend free speech.
Yeah, why would they not have started that way? Look, I would have had servers in South Africa. I would have had servers in Brussels. I would have had servers in Switzerland as my.
Well, Gab.com literally, if you're on Gab.com, they weren't $1 million company up until about a month ago when they did a crowdfund. It's they get all their money not from ad sourcing, but they get it from donations. So they're literally working with whatever's available, and if that $1 million went out, then they don't have anything,
Oh, and
we can bash GoDaddy real quick, because GoDaddy was involved in these scandals before. I mean, anyone who was around during the Aaron Swartz era knows that GoDaddy was the biggest supporter of the ACTA law, of the ACTA law, and then everyone started to attack them and complain about GoDaddy, and then they were forced to switch to protesting against it. But this is a very corrupt company.
Well, I don't understand how hosting providers have the legal right to say what you can and cannot put within the laws of the United States, what you can and cannot put on your server.
They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
That's when the government is supposed to be defending us.
They don't. But the government doesn't defend us because they're being
They
being supported by the corporations.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But that's where they should be defending us, because you and I can't afford the lawyers to take GoDaddy to court. It's a joke, right? We can't afford that.
We wouldn't win. They have billions of dollars to play with.
Right, which is
I have nothing.
Well, okay, but that's a bad argument though, because I mean, this is where Democrats shine. Is they're all about lawfare and putting lawsuits out there, and they get wins. I mean, you look at the thousands that they do, and I don't really agree with it, but at the same time, they get things done that way by being persistent and going after that angle. You never see these scumbag, lazy Republicans do that ever that I can remember.
Yeah, but the courts don't
They're pathetic.
You can't in a lot of courtrooms. You can't use constitutional law in the courtrooms. So what's the point? You know.
Well, then you use case law.
Think about
and the great thing about case law is there's always a ruling both ways. And you just need to pick one and start running the argument.
And that doesn't make any sense to me either. How you can't use constitutional law in the courtrooms, because the Constitution is the highest law of the land, which makes no sense to me why you can't use it in the courts.
You're not going to find any justice in the courtroom.
Yeah, of course.
You're not in America anymore, okay? Just forget that,
Yeah, so if you're looking for justice, that's not the way that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sad fact. That's where you're at. You're pretty much in America for sure. There's no branch of government that's going to defend the Constitution and your individual rights. They don't give a shit about that.
But our Constitution are our individual rights.
Well,
but
where you're whether it's right or wrong most of the time. In my mind, with the Constitution, it's meant to give people rights and never to take them away. So if you're writing or taking something in or out of the Constitution, and it's designed to take somebody's rights away, it's wrong. It doesn't end up matching what the spirit of the Constitution is, which is providing freedom for the people and keeping government and organizations from fucking you over, right? And when you look at the things that you have to be free white landowning male, well, that turned out to be trying to take rights away from Americans, from people. So it was taken out. The amendments that you were born on American soil, that was being used to take rights away from people. So that had to be added. But if you try to add something to take someone's rights, it always comes up wrong. It's only made to give people rights. If you're trying to push stuff that are designed specifically to fuck people over or to take rights away, it'll always come up wrong. It's not designed that. We can argue about all of the other, actual amendments and parts of the Constitution, but I feel personally, in the spirit of it, it's designed to give people rights, not to take them away.
Yeah, land of the free, home of the brave.
Has turned into land of the coward, home of the slave.
Post Banana Republic.
Pretty much.
Damn, that was cool.
Another thing I wanted to jump onto is that President Trump wanted to. I know this. I know we're nons, but we don't usually talk about the political stage. But this is kind of big. President Trump did send 15,000 troops. I don't know if they are National Guard or active military or full on. Well, National Guard is military. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know if it was National Guard or just the Army.
Talking to Mexico?
Yeah, onto the border.
He's sending regular military.
Here's the deal. And I don't have a problem with that. Trump has the right to do that. Okay, but what the problem is that he said that if a illegal border crosser throws a rock,
that it's considered a firearm.
Yes, and the troop can shoot back. And then I said in the back channels, I said, what the fuck, are we the IDF now? The Trump is going to turn our border into the Gaza-Israel conflict. He will.
Yeah, for that for that moment for sure, and we're not at war with any of these people. They are refugees. I mean, there's so much going on here. The people there are being used as
essentially what he's saying is that we should shoot Mexican citizens for throwing rocks.
Please stop sending us, as a veteran, stop sending us to murder unarmed civilians. Can you not pick a fucking enemy that's an actual fucking military? Can you only send us to murder unarmed women and children, poor people? Like, what's the difference between this and Afghanistan and Iraq? Once again, we're sent to murder innocent people for political gains. For political gains.
Yeah, but is he really doing this? Is he really doing this, or is it just like appealing to these populist voters again? Because it's shortly before the elections again, and last time he was like getting big on this build that wall stuff. Maybe he wants to like push
he has to. He has to at least say it. He has to at least say it, and he's done that. So let's give him that. Well, when it actually happens, I'm with you there. I'll have to see it to believe it.
Our last guest did say ISIS was sending people in with these caravans of refugees, so there's no way to confirm or deny that.
You know, even when you're in the army or you're in the military, you are not authorized to shoot unless you know there are certain rules of engagement, and I've never heard of a rock being a rules of engagement. You know.
Different.
Oh well, if you're like border patrol, yeah. I mean, there's incidences all the time of where they engage like that, and you know some of them get killed. You know when they return fire. So
yeah. So the rules of engagement are different from
it happens.
Action or operation that you are on. I will say there's only 4,000 people walking here, and they sent 5,200 troops. Figure out the numbers on that for a moment. Like once again, like I said, you know, we're sending $1 trillion of equipment and drones and military, you know, elite and all this equipment and taxpayer money, right, for a bunch of unarmed, starving people
who just want to get a job.
Yeah, and look, the East Coast is leveled at the moment because of these fucking storms. I am sure at least one of those Hondurans knows how to fix a roof. Right, we need thousands of people that know how shit and are
all right. We're just up in the ante then. You know, it's like okay, you can still come to the U.S., but now you have to dodge the tanks and the 50 caliber, you know, machine gun fire.
That's what
enough.
If you get here, you know, fuck it. I mean, you know, we'll let you stay. I mean, but
even then, like, fuck the bullets. You walked from Honduras, right? If you walk from the other continent to get here, okay, we need you. Never like. I mean, how much do you have to give? You obviously really, really, really want to be an American. I know most people that wouldn't walk to the end of the block to prove that they're an American. They won't even go out and fucking vote. This person walked thousands of miles with no food and shitty shoes. You're in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Terrence has got a point. I mean, I do side on with that. I mean, these people literally left really bad situations on foot and traveled thousands of miles. Not all on foot, but traveled thousands of miles.
There was a guy that swam from Cuba, you know, in the early 2000s, and he got within like 5 miles of the shore. And the deal is, as long as you hit U.S. soil and you're Cuban, you're good. But if you don't hit U.S. soil,
then they return you. Yeah.
And he swam from Cuba. He got within 5 miles, and they said, "Oh, he looked like he was struggling a little bit, so we took him out of the water." But he wasn't. We saw the video. He could have kept going. Why was he not on our Olympic team?
That's a long swim. How many miles is that? That's like got to be like what, like 800 miles
80,
swim?
90. Yeah.
Is it a 90-mile swim?
You're in.
Yeah.
You walk from the other side of the fucking continent. Okay. All right, you're good. I can
That's another Trail of Tears.
To the guy that's sitting on the border and they're like, "Oh, you crossed the desert." Like, man, come on. This lady walked from Honduras, right? I mean, you can see the border from your house. Rio Grande's like knee deep. These guys,
Trump threatened to cut off these countries because of the caravans, and I'm not sure if he's really well aware of how bad the situation are in these countries. Like El Salvador, like where he's sending the El Salvadorians back to El Salvador. El Salvador, like half of the country is gang infested, and run by a gang known as MS-13. And other countries surrounding there are politically, some of them are politically unstable. So when these people are saying that they left their country because of the situation and it's dangerous, they're not lying.
Yeah, but this is the deal. Okay, fair enough. You want to cut the funding and all of that stuff, that's fine. But then you need to pull back the CIA. You need to pull back all the secret, the secret operations you have going on. You have to stop undermining their government. You have to stop funding cartel members and gangs. You have to stop funding MS-13 so you have a boogeyman in South America. That's fine. Take the money that you're sending to those people for aid, but you got to take it all away. You can't say,
yeah, never going to happen. That's never going to happen.
No, but they're making it sound like this is happening in a vacuum, like they didn't cause these people's country to be like they are. This is 100% our fault. We funded it, undermined it. I mean, Reagan did horrible things. The leader in Brazil that we started a coup to undermine and then put into power, his actual quote, his slogan was, "I will turn Brazil into a graveyard." And motherfucker did. With CIA training and CIA fucking guns. The Bushes just funded them straight out. You're a fucking drug cartel? Fuck yeah, money, have anything you want. Machine guns, rocket launchers, doesn't give a shit, right? So, I mean, it's not like we didn't cause this problem. We didn't cause all of those problems. You want to take away the aid funding? Fair enough, but then you got to stop playing all games in South America.
Yeah. I mean, Mexico, you know, I will give the refugees, the people from Honduras, the benefit of the doubt. You know, Mexico did give these people, the ones that are actually the ones in the caravan, they did offer them asylum in Mexico, which is not as bad as the situation they were in the countries that they're escaping from.
Well, and that's when we get into where is the line? And you guys know, I don't play the games with conspiracy theories, right? So you don't have to name the theory to prove corruption because they're corrupt. They do things like this. Where is the line where it's like, okay, there is people that are funding this on both sides. Republicans want you to be scared, right? So they will make sure that you continue on because they like it. They'll instigate, and the left is doing the exact thing. George Soros, our great philanthropist, millionaire, right? This is 4,000 people. You would rather pay them to keep marching to make a political statement? You could have just paid each one of those people $1,000. Do you know how much $1,000 is in South America?
A lot of money, and depending on which country you go to, that's like. That could be a month or 6 months worth of wages, depending on which country you go to.
Start your life over, and other countries are much more wanting you to spend that money in their economy, right? You got $1,000, which is worth, let's say maybe $10,000 U.S. in certain places. They're more than happy to bring that money in. They're more than happy to have the workers come in. But you rather spend $1 million, $3 million, $5 million to fly CNN helicopters over it to do some hardcore reporting, right, than help any of the people below you. And it's not like the person that owns that helicopter could not help every single one of those people without taking a dime in a hit. It wouldn't hurt your profit margins, not one little tiny bit. You shit that $1 million, right? And you could take care of all of those people if you truly cared about them. And that's not the case. It's a media. And I wonder how much of that is pushed forward by that media circus. Everybody wants this. The bleeding heart liberals want it, right? The right wing wants it. We're going to put up a wall. We're going to mow down those damn immigrants, blah, 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 blah. Everybody has a piece of this for some reason.
Everybody's happy, right? See, both sides get what they want. You get to pump up the military-industrial complex on one side, build the wall, all that kind of action. The other side gets George Soros money, and he gets to, do his act. Everybody's happy. NGOs, hey, that's great, man. More money's thrown at them. It's a win-win in their world.
It is. That's the problem. A lot of people on my page will give me shit, and it's like, look, George Soros is a horrible person in the fact that he has the money to end this, but rather than end it, it's no doubt that he's funding things that are going on. Rather than end it, you're supporting to play games, to support the media circus around. And I mean, that means all of them. Look at all the millionaires that have posted all of the multi-millionaire celebrities and congressmen and all of that shit, right, that have posted their bleeding heart for these people and their march, but won't actually help them. And we're not talking huge amounts of money. Rather than buy that Ferrari this weekend, you could have saved every single one of those people.
No, they're not looking to help them. They're looking to use them for their own benefits, and that's
$4 an hour.
Yeah,
they're looking to destabilize things, and actually helps both sides, like you guys say too. It's true, because the populists want the people to be scared. It helps them to.
Yeah, there's half
the mentality.
America, half of the country is scared that there's this mob of brown people that are coming to kill them, and the other half is definitely scared for those brown people. So, I mean, both sides of the equation are working on this fear, right? This fear that they're always pushing.
Yeah, and that's what people should realize. It's both sides doing actually the same thing, and they're like, yeah, they're creating this entire situation together. Like,
yeah, where I'm down. Okay, let's go. If you really are that right winger that's all like, we have to stop them at all costs. Fine, let's help them.
Yeah.
Right? $100. You know what I'm saying? And you could easily, you know, that's one family would be able to get into a home in Mexico, no doubt.
Yeah, well, when I hear a number like 4,000 people, I think like this is nothing. What is 4,000 people?
Oh, yeah,
talking about a country with 350 million people in it. It's like
it's just to put
there's enough space for them here, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's 10,000 come through the Texas border every month as it is. I mean, what you're looking at is what comes through Texas normally in a month anyway. I don't think, you know, it's like for some reason now it's a big deal.
Yeah, there's definitely a buildup. Look, you know, the immigration issue, I agree that we have to have some way to make sure that bad dudes don't get in. But I don't think
I think what we need to do is we need to make it easier, the legislation and the legal process to become an American citizen and to come here legally needs to be easier. They need to drop the costs of getting your work visa or getting a visa to the United States. They need to drop that significantly. There's a lot of stuff that they can do to make it easier to get a green card or a work visa in the United States.
Yeah, you start your own business, for example.
Yes, and the first thing to do that would to be lowering the costs that is needed to just come here or to get the legal paperwork started.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of things that could be done. That's not what they're working on, right? They're just working the division.
Like one of my friends, you know, he was here illegally. They told me that she had to pay $2,000 to like Mexico to get her work visa or something like that, and she was here illegally because it had expired. And then like $2,000 in like Mexican money is equivalent to $6,000 down there.
Get a lot done.
That's a lot of money, you know.
Well, I mean, and that's really, you know, to get back to this, that's really what I'm saying about that. It's 4,000 people. If you really gave that much of a shit, right, you could help every single one of those people out with. I mean, what Brett Kavanaugh's PayPal is $500,000.
He turned that down.
Really going to spend you put $1 billion with military action to not even stop 4,000 people, just to make some weird show that we will mow down innocent children. You get a rock, we will fucking mow you down, no doubt. I'll consider that a firearm. Really? That's literally the opposite of what a firearm is, dude. Like,
hey, he said it. It came out of the commander's mouth. Man.
Yeah, to swear. Yeah, the military's job is to defend and uphold the United States Constitution, both foreign and domestic.
They were just given an order. You know?
Yeah, just an order. Look, if you're part of the military, I'm sorry, brothers and sisters, you are not.
You are not in conjunction with the oath that you swore into if you're defending the border. I'm sorry, that's not part of it.
You are not required to follow an unlawful order. You are not required to follow an unlawful order. And mowing down innocent civilians, unarmed civilians, they do not have firearms, is illegal. That is not. I mean, I repeat, that is not a legal action. You cannot do that, and you don't have to follow it.
As a soldier, you don't have to follow it. We learned that in Vietnam. If you get orders to mow down innocent civilians in their villages, you do not have to follow that order.
Well, you know how military politics is. You don't, if you say something, they'll do something to make you disappear out of that unit or give you Section 8.
Yeah. Eventually, they come to a point where they can't do it anymore. They would love, but look, you can't even no matter. We have trouble even rounding up people as it is because of the media's optics. If they can send the military to fuck with you, they would do it 100%. But they have trouble finding support inside of the military for it. Most military, I can tell you, talk about that we're not used on American citizens. Like you don't know the amount of talk that there is inside of the military on that there's a line that we don't cross. Unarmed civilians, American citizens. Like, it is something that we talk about.
It happens.
How many barracks are all like, nah, man, I'd never do that. I'm not going to fucking shoot an American citizen.
Yeah, well, technically, there are some things you can say for defending the borders, of course, but you can also use your brains. Like you said, Terrence, that if people walk like thousands of miles to even get to the US, these might be the most loyal citizens you would ever get in your country.
And that's something we see with most immigrants, first and second generation. Like, those are the most patriotic people that you will ever find, right? They've always got their hat on or whatever, right? You'll never find anybody that's more patriotic than the country that allowed them, freedom, that gave them a better life. My country's on fire. There's axe murdering fucking MS-13 members running fucking wild. This is bad. I get some hatred here or there, but damn sure better than that. And they love America for it. And
these people really believe in this American dream. And I think many Americans woke up to all of that stuff long ago already.
Well, and
they don't believe in that anymore.
Republicans are so stupid for alienating immigrants, right? Especially Latino immigrants. They're overwhelmingly Catholic, overwhelmingly Republican, right? Like, they were conservatives. Like, that. This is the Latino population is an extremely conservative population, extremely Christian population, and they alienated all of those voters. That is so stupid.
We do good with the Asians, though. Republicans always do good with the Asians.
Outside of California. And Cuba.
Asians are a good example. These people, it's like these are immigrants. They work hard and they start their own businesses.
Back in the 1940s, we did round up all the Japanese and put them in concentration camps. Everybody forgets about that.
What happened to the Constitution?
Made them build railroads.
Yeah.
Well, and that a lot of people was saying, because there was a lot of people that were born in those concentration camps. And they, once again, ignored the 14th Amendment and denied those people citizenship, even though they were American citizens. One of their parents was a citizen, and you were born on U.S. soil because you were born at that concentration camp. And Judge Takai is posted some he's got into like real depth of like his experience with it and his family's experience.
Wasn't he? I think he was raised in one of those concentration camps at one point.
Even more, then he served in the military, just like the rest of us, the same military that put his family in concentration camps. He defended that country because they were still that patriotic. But he's gone into some real depth of like, what it was like living there, how you were treated, how his family was treated and all of that. And it's a nightmare. And with all of these, if you go and talk to, first generation Irish immigrants, first generation Italian immigrants, first generation Asian immigrants, that there were going to be these Asian gangs running from California from one side to the other when Bruce Lee movies came out. So they literally went around just arresting Asian people. Right? They keep on doing these same things. Now it's Latinos, now it's the Hondurans. Like, there's always a fucking reason for them to have these fucking these like what are they called? These slave patrols running around. Right? Who are you? Where are your papers? Why aren't you with whoever you're owned by?
Well, like during the war, why were you rounded up the Japanese, but nobody ever asked, well, how come they didn't round up Italians and Germans?
Well, they
money.
No, they do.
It was the Axis powers. How come you only round up one of them?
Well, they can only send. It seems like they only are able to segregate and single off one group at a time. So they pretty much arrest every black person they possibly could. Our prisons are as full as they can possibly be. They've passed every law, played every game that they possibly could, right? To lock up enough that finally it's all like, okay, guys, it looks like you are just rounding up black people. We looked at the records. We looked at your police records. You are just rounding up people of color. And then that became a problem, and immediately we moved to Latinos. Right now, that's the next group of people that we've got to send these heavily armed slave patrols out to look for. But they only seem to ever get like one group before it comes too much, right? You could just kind of blanket Latinos, but then when it was just children, that was one too many, right? As long as it's just the Japanese, it's all good. As long as you're just, keeping the Irish from getting in, Four Corners, man, it's a nightmare. Right, they're all pimps. They come in there. They have huge families. They're part of a religious cult. Right, they're all Catholic there. They don't work. They're lazy. They're stealing our fucking jobs. Right, we have to send the police down to keep this from happening. Look, man, the Italians, all of these immigrants are coming over here. They're Sicilians. They're mob bosses. They're criminals. They're pimps. They're lazies. They're Catholics. Right, blah 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 blah. Right. Fast forward to the 1980s, and we go through the same song and dance over and over again. They're criminals, they're lazy, they're blah, blah, blah. Again. They just erase and put in
the other races will let it go on as long as they just pick one. The other races will go along with it as long as they're not targeted.
Yeah, right away. I think that honestly, for as much as we talk shit about the media, like hip-hop music specifically has managed to keep that from happening. It wasn't all of us that our outrage that changed the movement of America and people of color being abused by the criminal justice system and the police, right? It was hip hop through the suburbs and enlightening all of these kids to what was going on. And now those kids are adults and are all like, nah, man, I don't want any more fucking hoods. Right? I've got friends that are brown and black. I don't want to. I've heard their story. I don't want to deal with that shit anymore. And they were willing to oppress us no matter how much we said it. But it's the allies now standing with us, and the information that managed to get out because of hip hop is like important to note. Very few musics have had that like influence on the entire like knowledge base of the American people. They'll quote you shit from a rap song way before they'll quote the actual historical fact from it. But it doesn't change the fact that they're voting against it. You know what I mean?
Hey guys, we have about 8 minutes left.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of compliments, Terrence. You're on a roll tonight.
Yeah.
People say.
Uh-oh. No, don't put me on don't put me out like that, because then the next one I'll bomb on.
Hillary triggered you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like to be honest, behind all of the like struggle, whatever they're doing isn't working. You know what I mean? The people that are speaking out are more popular, not less popular. The wars and things that they're pushing are only bringing people closer and closer together, even though they would like it to be the opposite.
To the point they actually have to now start censoring social media.
Yeah, like they have to actively stop, because it's not slowing down. I think they legitimately are scared. CNN comes out with something, and by the time they post it, there's already 1,000 posts refuting it or telling the truth, or people aren't there. They're definitely not winning these battles. Speaking of the comments, we only got 8 minutes. We haven't really went through the comments because how short it was. We have a couple of questions or things we can try to get out here.
Cover everything, Tyler?
I wasn't watching any of the accounts.
We could have trolls in our comments and not even know it.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm over here playing with the trolls. Just wait a second. They're a little baby crowd. Needing attention.
Well, I mean, to our trolls, thanks for tuning in. They think like
I'll say for the people I never ban anybody or delete anybody from my comments or any of that crap, because a lot of times the trolls get on there and think that they're being witty, but they end up stimulating the conversation, and people end up becoming emotionally connected to the things that people are saying, the ideas that they're defending on there. I don't think the trolls realize how much of a service they do sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think they hate us so much, and we're just defending free speech and also their free speech. So
yeah, sooner or later, I'm pretty sure this episode, somebody listening to this episode will say that we're Nazis, because we're defending Gab.
Nazi sympathizers.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is I've been following the Gab Twitter account for like a good 6 months, and I never saw any Nazi postings until Gab went down. And for 2 days, there were what I would say politically. You know how certain parties, they post certain things, and I don't want to say I don't want to say which political party, but there were a lot of Nazi related posts on the Gab Twitter feed. And now that Gab has been announcing that they are going back online, all of those comments have disappeared. Like they went on to the next agenda.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we're gonna have to find people that can't be moved around. .com, I know how something
here's the deal: is that a lot of people who were saying that Gab is alt-right and supports Nazism obviously don't have a Gab account or don't understand the Gab ideology.
Well, and look, here's the deal. Like, don't kid yourself. Nazis exist. Fascists exist. White supremacists exist.
Free speech is a right, and there should be a social media platform that allows it to do that. And a lot of writers, a lot of leftist writers, and I hate to say this to if you do read an article, if any of our listeners do read an article, that posts Gab in a negative way, just keep in mind that is a biased article from somebody who is not well informed of the ideology or has an account on that website, because the alt-right and the Nazis are only about 10% on that social media platform. The extreme right or Republicans are only 20% on that platform. The rest are left, activists, anarchists, whatever. I mean, there's a majority of people on Gab who don't fit into what these articles are saying.
Even if you work, take this as, I guess before we run out of time here, take this into consideration. Let's say you're somebody that does hunt Nazis. You're the one that's always posting, punch a Nazi in the face. If I said, let's go punch a Nazi, who would stand with me, blah, 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 blah. If you're that guy, right, you want to go find a Nazi right now and post their information, troll them, talk shit about them, any of that stuff. You can't do it because they've taken down...
Yeah.
If I were these people, I would research a bit about the meaning of National Socialism, of fascism, and about corporate dictatorships and corporate oppression. There's a big difference, and it's all about reading just into history. And, I'm from Europe, and my family lived under National Socialism, socialist oppression, and it's very different than this corporate oppression. I'm not saying this is not bad. It's really bad too. I mean, corporate oppression is really bad, but you have to look at political ideologies, and there are some differences.
Well, I say the same thing to Antifa guys who are really communist, and I've always said this, my family escaped from a communist country, and I know from my grandfather, my father's story, how bad communism is. He said when the communists came into their country, everybody was rounded up and arrested and killed.
Yeah.
The all of the isms seem to fall into that same, they take in, it's not just you don't believe it, or I think we need to move in this direction, it's we need to round up everybody and kill them that doesn't believe what we believe. And like, it doesn't matter, as soon as all of these people that it's an ideology, right there, it's a religion to them. Yep. And it's that weird religious component where it's like, it's not enough that you don't believe what I believe, I got to round you up and kill you because of it. Because you believe in God, you don't believe in God, whatever it is, right? Because you're communist, capitalist, whatever. At the end, they still want to round you up and kill you. Does it matter to me whether you're a capitalist, corporate mercenary, or a communist? A bullet in the back of the head is a bullet in the back of the head.
That's true. Yeah, I always say that communism or Marxism. looks good on paper. It's just the dichotomy of human nature always fucks everything up. Everything from capitalism to socialism. It doesn't matter what ism it is, you know.
Like, we're having a problem now in that the government that most people want, we don't actually have the word to describe it. All the words that we have.
Well, what most people want is utopianism, equal for everybody, and that's not a reality.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it doesn't.
There's always a little bit. There's always going to be a struggle, but you know, we don't have to ask for a perfect system to ask for a system that isn't specifically designed to fuck us over.
Yeah.
And you're consumers, you're demanding capitalism too, and yeah, if you consume, you want new products.
All right, guys, 1 minute.
Yeah, we won't go through it all. You know, like all of them, the word itself isn't evil. Capitalism, the fact that you want to that you want to gain capital and make profit isn't evil. The fact that you're allowed to use slave labor to do it is.
Yeah.
To our listeners, we will be back 11 a.m. Pacific time to do an emergency on Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday to do an emergency Million Mask March stream, and then we will also be doing a stream at the same time on 11 a.m. I don't know, that's still up to debate on how that's going to work out. We will let you know on Sunday how we will be streaming the Million Mask Marches, but we will have organizers on ABB on Sunday talking about the marches. So tune in on Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and right now we'll roll out with credits.
Dun, 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 dun.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.